Hello, my name is Veronica, and welcome to this Mother's Day Crafty YouTube collab. I am so excited to be here. Hopefully you have visited everyone who is listed in the link in the description box below. If you haven't, please make sure you visit them, but I am here to wrap it up for you. So come on in and let's get started. The inspiration for my project came from one that I had done with my students, and I thought, this would make a perfect Mom or Grandma's Day brag book. So if you've been hesitant to jump into the mini book trend, let me tell you, this is one that you might want to get excited about. It's a normal A2 size card, but inside is some nice goodness for you to keep Mom or Grandma interacting with your mini book. So come on in and let's get started. I am starting out with an 11 by 17 sheet of paper in order to make my booklet, but it can be done with 8.5 by 11 paper, so stay tuned and I'll share that with you. So our first score mark is going to be at the 1/2 inch mark. And this paper is probably 65 pound weight. Then I'm going to go over here and make one at 8.5. Going to rotate this around 180 degrees and make another score mark at the 1/2. Now I'm going to flip my paper over and I want to score at 4.5. Rotate again 180 degrees and make another score mark at 4.5. So here's the bump. I want that to fold to the inside of my paper. And then you're just going to go back and forth doing an accordion fold. And there you are. And before you burnish, I would definitely double check to make sure these edges are lined up. And then give that a good press down. Then this is going to go into your paper trimmer and you're going to cut it at 5.5. And once you do that, you are going to end up with 2 pieces that look like this. So out of each one, you can get 2 little booklets. And I would say don't score down these flaps. It just makes it for a nicer, smoother cut when you put it in your paper cutter. Now, let's take a look if you don't have 11 by 17 paper. Got you covered. You are able to do this project using 8.5 by 11 inch paper. That's about 65 pound weight. And you would get 3 coordinating colors or 3 of the same color if you want that. Mine are different colors so that you can see what I'm doing. Now, on one of the pieces, and that's the one that's going to join these 2 pieces together, you need to trim off 2 inches. And this is one that I have been using for other ones that I've made. So this one is at 2 inches. Now, one thing you should be aware of, not all paper is created equal. So I would definitely line these up and make sure that they are all the same height. Oh, wow. And when I look at this, look, my pink is a little bit longer than my brown. My green is fine. So I'm going to have to take a little bit off of this pink to make sure they line up evenly. And that is what I ended up trimming off of the pink. So now I'm putting these on my mat. And I'm using one with grid lines because I want to be able to get a balance point for using it. And I know I'm going to leave about 1 inch between each one of these, and that's 4 of those lines. Remember, I cut my paper at 2 inches. So this one is going to cover or stand in the gap, and I'm going to cover those 2 quarters is where my glue is going to go. You can use a tape runner for this, or you can use your liquid glue. Either one will work. So I want to start by covering the 2/4 inches that are on there, and right here where I can see, I'm going to put it on the quarter there and it's going to connect slide this one over a little bit so that I have my 1 inch in between. As I went to connect it, I was like, wait, that's not going to match up properly. Now we're good to go. So I know I'm covering the 2 squares on each piece. And once I line that up, I'm good to go. Then doing the same thing at the top. Making sure my 2 pieces land where they need to. Massage in the glue, turn it over and do the other side. So now we're ready to trim this one down just a little bit, because remember we added an entire inch to this, so it's an inch too long. So we have to take off a 1/2 inch on each side. So normally I would use a pencil, but I'm going to use a pen with you because I need you to see what I'm doing. So over here, because I know I want to take off an entire inch, I'm going to take off a 1/2 inch on this side, and then I'm going to take off a 1/2 inch on this side. I'm just using these little squares on my mat. So when I put it there, and if I mark at the 1, 2, I'm taking off 1/2 inch. So let's bring our trimmer back. And I'm lining up and guiding myself over here. So that's gone. Then we're going to turn this one around and do the same thing. I want my mark just on the cutting edge. Now it's all done, we're ready to score this one. When this gets folded, I know I want that bump to be on the inside. So leaving this face up with the 2 inch facing me, so I'm going to put my 8.5 inch score mark here, and that is going to keep it centered. Then while I have it up, I'm going to go over here and score it my 1/2. Flip it around 180 degrees, rotate it. I'm going to score at the halfway mark over here. Then, just like the other one, flip it over. And here's where I'm scoring at 4.5. Rotate it around. And another one at 4.5. Now it's ready to be folded. Again, it's the same thing that you did before. You want that bump to go to the inside. When you get to here, bumps on the inside, and you just accordion folding it all the way down. Then when you are done, before you really super crease it, just double check to make sure these edges line up before you burnish it down. And double check the other end, and they look really good. So now you're just ready to burnish those into place. Now the reason I like putting the 2 inch piece on top is because you get a nice fold down on either side, versus if you had done it on this side and fold it, you get the short piece and it just doesn't look as finished as it does with this one. And here's one I did that is all in one color so that you can see what that would look like. And you have your one continuous piece of paper. So now you're ready to just chop it in half. And once you do that, you're going to end up with stacks that look like this. Now before we continue, one thing I would like to suggest is that if you want finger notches in these, to go ahead and notch those prior to putting it together. And here is just a little 1 inch punch. Go into where you believe you might want them to be. Punch that out, and then I would suggest using a pencil to go around so you can see where to punch the next one. Now you can try to do this, and I tried. It wasn't very successful. I ended up punching off some of my other one, but you know, at least you'll make sure that these are somewhat lined up together. Go ahead and finish this since I'm here. And there you go. Now we're at the point where you are ready to fold back your edges and to glue it down. This piece folds up, flip it over. You can open it out if you like. And this piece folds and burnish. You're going to burnish this one quite a bit, so get used to that. Now, here's my piece, and if you did the other one, your solid piece is there, and you're basically going to glue these two pieces together. But we're going to do it so that we leave a pocket in the top. So that means that our glue is only going to go along one side and the bottom. So with that bump on the inside, running some glue along here, and then I'm going to run some glue along here. And then just simply marry those two pieces together. Check my edges, make sure everything lines up. Start giving my glue an opportunity to work itself in. And of course, I'm going to help it along with some burnishing. Flip it over, do the same thing. Now, the part for the cover, again, you just need a piece of 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock. And you can get 2 covers from 1 piece of paper. So I took a sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper and I cut it in half. Then I took one of the other halves and cut it at 4 inches, and then I left the other piece at 4.5. These are the 2 pieces we're going to use to make our cover. And to do that, I'm going to need to score the larger piece at the 1/2 inch mark. I am not doing a deep score because I'm going to have the paper gently fold its way around. So this is a light score on the paper. My booklet is ready to be put together. Now, one thing I didn't say, when you have it flat all the way out, that's when you can go ahead and decorate with your papers. If you prefer to do it this way and decorate, you can do that also. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. But here's where putting on the cover does. We're going to put this back piece on first. My glue is going to go down here. And across the bottom. Now this is the piece that we kind of left undone, and it's going to eventually end up folding around to the other side. And generally I like to give this some time to really dry and get stuck down, but I need to glue these pieces along in here because that's what's making our spine. And it's also what's going to help to make our pocket. So we're going to just gently coax that around. Again, I usually give this some time to set because I make so many, I do them in stages. And now this piece just gets put on top and you get a nice finished edge to your book. Making sure I have my pockets there. So along here, along the bottom and along here. And again, if it oozes out a little bit, all the better. So I'm going to put this one on first. Come over, and all of this is flush. And this is going edge to edge. Let's put this back on before it clogs. And we're just going to work that glue in. And now we have our little brag book. And we have all of our pockets in here. So here's one. Before you do this, make sure your glue is nice and tight. I know the middle one is because we did that one first. There's a pocket. And then this last one is a pocket. And then your back part is also adhered. Then I would just also take my bone folder and just go along the sides of that semi-spine just to reinforce it. The paper pad I used is an older one from Echo Park, and it's Spring Fling from Lori Whitlock. And there are 4 sheets of each style. And one of the things that I did use on 2 of my books that I put together are these little cut-aparts that I matted on some coordinating paper. And here's a booklet, and I have already glued in some of the panels that I matted, and I just did incremental steps on this because I know my booklet is 4 by 5.5. I just stepped it down, and so this layer underneath is 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, and then the one on top I wanted an 1/8 of an inch border, so I did 3 11/16 by 5 1/8, and that's how I got that border all around. So I put it together while it was still flat so I could line these up going across. So I'll go ahead and put in the last one. And for these, you can use tape if you like. I am going to use liquid glue on mine. We'll see if I can get this into place without having to put my head in there. And with it being liquid glue, it does give me an opportunity to adjust it if I need to. And now to add it to my booklet, same thing. I'm going to put it down using some more liquid glue. Use your favorite. I am not leaving these as pockets because this is a small book. And if I start doing that, it is just going to bulk everything up and defeat the purpose of making a quick little album. So using the top as my gauge, nestle that into place. And now it's all lined up and ready to be glued down just like I did the one in my preview. Since I've already shown how to glue these pockets, I'm going to go ahead and glue that down off camera and then come back and finish it. I'm giving this a gentle press. It's not hard at all. Just massaging that glue in. And there we are. Now, next steps is completing the cover. And what I've selected is this little felt piece. And I got this eons ago from probably Joann's, but it was the Studio G felt doilies, and it is going to be perfect on there. I found these at the $1.25 store, and I decided to use this one. But the drawback was it said mum instead of mom, like we use here in the US. So I went in my little stash and found these little circles and decided to use a coordinating color to turn mum into mom. This is the one that I'm going to use on here. And I need to glue it onto my doily somewhere around here. And I am going to put some liquid glue on here to make sure this doesn't pop off. You could use some hot glue if you wanted, but just be careful that you don't melt your felt. So let's move this off. And I did make an oops. I totally made an oops. I had a ribbon closure that I was supposed to put on here that I didn't put on. I apologize. It looked like this. And what I was supposed to have done before I glued this down was to glue this in between there and then glue another piece in between the back and then cut it, and then you can just tie that together. It does not have to have a closure for the way that we're going to store it, but if you want that on there, please feel free to do so. That's my fault. I totally apologize. Let's put this down. Keep our back tidy. And then this will get glued down to here. Again, I'm using my liquid glue. And I'm going to use these butterflies. Put some there. I'm trying to decide if I want them here. That's too balancy. Okay, I think I like them here. Put some here. So now for the inside, again, this doesn't have a lot of bulk to it, so you can't chunk it up. This is from one of the cut parts that I did. Tuck that one there and put this one at the bottom. Because every moment matters. Absolutely love it. Then we're going to live the life you've imagined, and I'm going to put the glue on that side. I got this from King Company. It's really, really old, but it has all these words and phrases and things in it that I thought was perfect for this book. And then back here, I can put Dream a Little Dream. And on this one, I found these stickers where I could just float one of these on there just as color coordinated. Again, I don't want to make this super bulky because that's not the purpose. This I'll make as a little tuck. You can tuck a picture under there. We can put that one at the top. And we are all done. If you want to put something on the back, feel free to do so. But this is our cute little brag book for Ma or Grandma. Now, you do have the pockets up top. So make sure that once you're done and your glue has completely dried, go ahead and open up those pockets using your bone folder or any other object that you can slide into there. And there you are. This is not designed to be chunky. Please don't chunk it up. You're just going to end up ruining this cute little spine that we have. Now you can cut pieces to go in here, which I did on some of my others, but you can also use some of these to tuck. And these are just some of the Project Life cards. And they tuck right in there. Absolutely love. So some of those can be tucked in there also. And then your pictures can just go down inside of there on a mat. You could also tuck some of these in there with a little pull string tag to pull them out. But I just think this is so cute, and Ma or Grandma will absolutely love it. And so of course, once I finished my Mom's Day brag book, I had to go ahead and put one together for Grandma. They are just too cute to boot. And Grandma still has some of those Project Life cards that are tucked into hers with some cookies. Oh, I just thought this was really, really cute. Now, how to store this? Most grandmas like to have them to carry around. So what I did was I took one of these little pockets that come from those little books from the $1.25 store, and these will slide down in here perfectly. So if Mom or Grandma wants to carry them around in their purse, they don't have to worry about the book getting damaged, and then they can show all of their friends all their cute kids, grandkids, and even great-grandkids. As always, thank you for joining me in the Learning Lab. Please be sure to visit everyone on this Crafty Mother's Day YouTube collab salute, and to visit my blog at inkallusions.blogspot.com. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, you might want to do so, and the notification bell so you'll know when I upload my next video. Until then.